new chapter in this case, guys. And our focus for this lesson is to actually solve for missing variables, or a missing variable, actually just one, and a multi-step equation. So we will be working in this case, guys, with the equations that have variables on both sides. And we will be using inverse operations in this case. For example, let's actually just start off with a bit of a review here. And for the review in this case, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a look at one-step equations. One-step equations. Now, with one-step equations in this case, guys, we have, or we'll actually do, we'll do one-step equations. And I have in this case, guys, x plus 7 is equal to a 13. Whenever we're talking about inverse operations in this case, we're actually, our goal in this case, guys, is to isolate the variable that's given to us, in this case being x. And we have two sides of the equation here. We have the left side and we have the right side. Now, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and move everything that's on the same side of the variable to the opposite side, which means that we have to move the 7 to the opposite side. So in order for us to do that, I have to do an inverse operation, which is subtract 7 to both sides. Subtract 7, right? That would give us, in this case, guys, x is equal to a 6, right? That is us doing inverse operations. Once again, what we did there, we subtract 7. And we're only moving, in this case, guys, the values or whatever's on the same side of the variable in this case. Same thing in this case, if I were to have the following. Let's say we have a 3x is equal to 21. On this one, guys, once again, we want to go ahead and leave the variable alone, which is x. And if we take a look at this here, guys, we actually have multiplication between the 3 and the x in this case, guys. We have multiplication between the 3 and the x. So in order for us to do that, or to get rid of the 3, I have to divide both sides by 3. And divide both sides by 3. That would give us x, or 1x, is equal to a 7. So for us here, we divide by 3. So we're going to go ahead and be doing that in this case, guys, but with variables on both sides of the equation. So that's just a review in this case for us, guys, a review for us here. So let's take a look in this case. Let's go ahead and start off with directions. And in this case, guys, we want to go ahead and solve for x. Solve for x using inverse operations. All right. So in this case, guys, let's go ahead and start off with example A. And in this case, guys, I have the following equation. 8x minus a 9 is equal to a 5x plus a 9. Plus a 9. And in this case, guys, the goal here is to actually isolate, or actually put the variables all on one side, because we do have variables on both sides and numbers on the other. So if I take a look at this here, guys, I actually have an 8x and I have a 5x, and they're not on the same side. So I want to go ahead and make sure these are on the same side. And I also have a negative 9 and I have a 9. So I also want to go ahead and make sure I put those on the same side. So I'm going to go ahead and move first my variable. I'm going to go ahead and actually subtract the 5x, right? I actually don't see nothing that's going on here, so I assume that's a positive. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 5x. Doing so in this case would actually cancel out the 5x minus 5x, gives us 0. And I'm left in this case with the 3x minus 9 is equal to a 9. All right, first step I did there in this case, I subtract 5x. Subtract 5x. From there, I now need to move my numbers, my constants here. So I'm going to go ahead and move that. And the inverse in this case, guys, because we want to leave, once again, guys, the x alone, I need to move the 9, the negative 9 in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and add 9. And add 9. Once again, negative 9 minus plus 9 is actually going to give me a 0. So then that's going to become a 3x is equal to 18. So our second step in this case, guys, was to add 9 to both sides. Add 9 to both sides. And our final step in this case, guys, because once again, we want to leave the x alone, the operation that's happening between the 3 and the x is multiplication. So opposite multiplication is division, and we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by a 3. And that's going to give me a result of x equal to a 6. So final step in this case is divide by 3 on both sides. And once again, guys, we're only doing the inverse operation if we have to move the item or the number in this case, guys, to the opposite side. If they're on the same side and they're already like terms, I have to keep them the same. So that's our first example.